Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's special committee of the whole meeting. It is Tuesday, August 20th, 6:30 p.m. And could I please have a roll call, Susan?
Rolke.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Motive.
Present.
Reed.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
Finkler.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was noticed and published according to law.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and I'll take a motion for such.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Is there anybody signed up for public comment at this meeting?
There is not.
Okay. Then the first item for new business is to discuss conditional use permit at 115 Commercial Drive for an 1,800-gallon propane tank. And I believe we have Brad Weber here from LICO. Did you want to come up and speak?
Brad Weber, manufacturing.
Yeah.
Do that.
There you go.
It's on now.
All right. I'm technically challenged. So we've applied to add a LP tank to the Commercial Avenue side of our facility. It'll serve as a secondary source of power to our new generator system, which was the primary is the natural gas, but in case there's something, an outage on natural gas, we'd be able to switch over and keep running LP. Probably at full capacity, it'll probably only give us a day or two, but at least we'll get a day or two. So that's really what it's about. So I'm certainly available to answer any other questions in regard to it.
And this has, Matt, been approved by the plan?
Plan Commission gave unanimous approval at their most recent meeting.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Alder Rostad?
Is this in the fenced-in area, Brad?
No.
Or no?
No, but it will be surrounded by bollards, steel bollards that'll be cemented into the pad itself.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No? Okay, is everybody comfortable moving this forward for a vote? All right, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
And at this time, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.
Right, we will move into the regular Common Council meeting tonight, and could welcome to everybody that is here, and also welcome to those that are watching on the cable channel. And with that, could we have roll call, please?
One moment, please. Get caught up.
New software still getting acclimated.
I apologize. Hold
No.
on just one moment, please. There it is. Oh, roll call. Finkler.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Motive.
Present.
Reed.
Here.
Rolke.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was noticed and posted according to law.
If you would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And we already had the notice of open meeting, and with that, would look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rostad, and a second by Alder Motive to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. On to public comment. Is there anybody for written comment? Nope. Well, the next will be a proclamation honoring Captain Jake Bisbee. Take it, you're Jake? Yep. Okay. I've met you before, so.
Since you back off for Winona.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
give him something too, maybe say a couple words and then you're done.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, a proclamation honoring Jake Bisbee, 18 years of service, Columbus Fire Department. Whereas Captain Jake Bisbee was appointed to the Columbus Fire Department on January 4th, 2021 by the Columbus Police and Fire Commission with 15-plus years prior with Monona Fire Department. And whereas Captain Jake Bisbee has served from his beginning as a firefighter in 2021 to his promotion to captain of equipment in 2022, stepping back to firefighter later in 2022. And whereas Captain Jake Bisbee has served with dedication and bravery, often placing himself in difficult and dangerous situations to ensure the safety and well-being of others in the community, as well as those that travel through. And whereas Captain Jake Bisbee retired from the Columbus Fire Department on January 3rd of 2024, along with his prior retirement from Monona Grove Fire in January of 2021. Therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Joseph Hammer, do hereby thank Captain Jake Bisbee for his dedication, hard work, and service to the Columbus Fire Department and the greater Columbus community and the Monona Grove Fire Department and community for these past 18 years. Dated this 20th day of August of 2024. Thank you very much for your service.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We also have the fire chief here to speak
Good
some
evening.
words.
Just want to share a few words about Jake. Jake started on our department many years ago as a young, enthusiastic firefighter. Jake has grown immensely. He has studied hard. While he was with us, he got his Fire 1, Fire 2, his fire officer instructor, and he just wanted to progress into the fire department. And I think he'd still be there if it wasn't for a work thing with it, his wife having to commute and Jake having to commute. Someplace in the middle turned out to be Columbus, which turned out great for you guys. I won't belabor what other accomplishments he has, but there's two things that I want to mention. One, Jake is a very brave firefighter. It was mentioned by the mayor. But in September of 2017, we had a structure fire with a individual that was in the home. He was barricaded, and he was returning fire on law enforcement. The house started on fire. Jake and one of our other career firefighters was fighting that fire behind a bulletproof shield. He was recognized by the sheriff of Dane County as one of the bravest firefighters that he's ever seen. He stood up there. He prevented another house from burning down. The individual that was barricaded was actually apprehended ultimately, and they only lost the house. So Jake did an incredible job. He's a hardworking man. But on a lighter note, he's also the Grinch. One Christmas, as a fire truck parade is a fire truck or fire department tradition. Every Christmas time, departments sponsor a parade, and the trucks get all dressed up. They put lights on them. And Jake was on the back of our old Mack, dressed as the Grinch, going down the road. Outstanding job. But anyways, I want to commend him for his years of service. Chief Hazeltine asked me to stop up and just say a few words. I can't say enough good things about Jake. He was a great value to us, and I'm sure he was a good asset for you guys. And I'm sure you'll still see him around the community, helping out wherever he can. So thank you. I have a challenge coin for Jake that I want to give him. So
Thank you, Chief.
thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Pictures need to be taken, or do you care to say anything?
Yeah. Oh, kids, you want to get a picture quick? I don't have to say anything. We're good. Hold this. Hold it. You want a picture, Sherry?
Yeah, do you want here?
Yeah. Here. You can hold this. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh, is it?
Okay, we will now move on to the consent agenda, which is the approval of the Council and Committee of the Whole minutes from August 5th of 2024.
So move.
Alder Motif will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rossed and a second by Alder Motif to approve the consent agenda. Are there any, or is there any discussion regarding this? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda approved. Next on the agenda is the approval of the ordinance. The first reading and final action can be taken to, by a motion to suspend the rules and waive the readings under the City of Columbus Ordinance, Section 246. And that under the, is to amend the ordinance of 114-101, Sub 9, related to fences, walls, and hedges. And the, this has been approved by the Plan Commission, forwarded to us. Unfortunately, Mike is not able to be here tonight if there were any questions, but we have looked this over, so.
I'll just add that I was at the Plan Commission meeting where this was discussed and can try and answer any questions that there are.
I have one. Do we have to make a motion first to waive the readings?
Yeah, we should probably.
Okay.
Well, first I would look for a motion to suspend the rules.
Alder Motif will make a motion to suspend the rules. Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Motif and a second by Alder Finkler to suspend the rules. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next would be to waive the readings under the ordinance section 246.
Alder Rolke will move to waive the reading of section 2, ordinance section 246.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke and a second by Alder Lawson to waive the reading. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then next would be to amend the ordinance 114-101, sub 9, related to the fences, walls, and hedges.
Alder Lawson will move to amend ordinance 114-1019 related to fences, walls, and hedges.
Alder Motif will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Motif to amend ordinance 114-101. Any further discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then we will move on to new business, and that will be, first item is to consider and take action on the quote from RIME for the 2024 computer replacements in the amount of $22,434.
Alder Finkler will move to approve the quote from RIME for 2024 computer replacements in the amount of $22,434.
Alder Lawson will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Lawson to approve the quote from RIME for computer replacements. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Motiv.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Rosted.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, next then would be to take action on the conditional use permit at 115 Commercial Drive for an 1,800-gallon propane tank.
Alder Rolke will move to approve the conditional use permit at 115 Commercial Drive for an 1,800-gallon propane tank.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Finkler to approve the CUP. Any further discussion on this item? Oh, sorry.
No substantive comment, but one drafting issue, the words "the property," that is at the end of the introductory paragraph should actually go up right after the parcel number in the title, and then that would make a lot more sense. If you understand what I'm saying.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yes, the words parentheses, the property should go at the end of the bolded section at the title.
Oh,
So that you understand exactly what the parcel is that you're awarding the CUP to, and then it can be deleted at the end of that first paragraph.
You got notice?
Just a drafting error to it. Now you can approve it as amended, and you're all good.
So I will amend my motion?
You
Oh, I don't
even
need to do that?
that.
Oh, okay,
No.
okay.
And you got that, Susan,
I
for
will.
what he's, okay. No, I just wanted to make sure you're,
Yeah.
okay. Right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for the CUP for LICO. Thanks. And then next would be to consider and take action on the claims in the amount of $212,835.54.
Alder Motive will make a motion to approve the claims in the amount of $212,835.54.
Second.
Motion by Alder Motive, sorry, and second by Alder Rested to approve the claims. Any further discussion on any of this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Finkler.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Motive.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Rosted.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, reports of city officers.
Briefly, just want to commend our staff that were involved in National Night Out. Was a great event with a great turnout. Specifically want to commend police department, fire department, public works staff, utility staff for all being engaged, involved, having a role. I know a number of other city staff were involved in other ways as well. I've been to several of those events in other communities. I'd put ours up against any other communities that I've attended. Just a great involvement from the community and just a great showcase for the community and the work that our police and fire staff do for and serve the community. So just commendable on all levels. Thought it was really, really exceptional event. The only other thing, I don't have anything else. I'll turn it over to the mayor. Sorry. My comments on the National Night Out was just a phenomenal night. Watching the helicopters come in and then take off was just really something else. Great watching the kids, well, adults too, as the helicopters came in. Actually getting to sit in the cockpit of the Blackhawk was, I didn't do it, but just watching all the people that did, it was pretty exciting. So, yeah, many thanks to Chief Weiner and his staff for all the input that they did with that. Mike Corman and I had the opportunity to attend a Urban League Alliance seminar in Milwaukee this last week, and good event, good opportunity to meet with other administrators, mayors, and such. It was held at the Fiserv building. I've never gone through security of any place like I went through there. It was something else, but a good chance to
talk with colleagues. So, and that's all I have. So with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler and a second by Alder Rosted to adjourn. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
So are you good with just rolling right through?
Yeah. One moment.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Columbus Council Committee of the Whole meeting. And at this time, I will take a roll call.
Moment.
I wish I knew how to juggle something entertaining.
This is the trickiest part, is getting between the meetings. Okay. Roll call. Relke.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Motive.
Present.
Reed. Here. Lawson.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
Finkler.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was also posted and noticed according to law.
Thank you. At this time, I'm looking for approval of the agenda, and I would take a motion for the same.
So move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Alder Reed, did you have a question? Oh, okay, just making sure. Thank you. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Included in this packet tonight are department reports to file for the fire department from June of 2024, the library from July of 2024, Lifestar from July of 2024, and the police department from July of 2024. Next is public comment. Do we have anybody signed up to speak?
We do not.
Okay. First item of new business is to discuss and review the erosion control ordinance. Is that you, Jason? Okay.
That is I. Well, thank you. I know I got the spotlight here tonight because you guys are all blowing through the rest of the agenda items. But we wanted to get this before you tonight as kind of our first step as we've talked about bringing erosion control and stormwater back and updating our ordinances, and I think that's an important step. The ordinances before you tonight, I will start out by thanking Paul and his staff and the city staff. There's a lot of work and thought went into this. Stormwater one will be coming. You'll see a lot more work. But it was no small feat to kind of go through the existing code and repeal all those sections that had stormwater and erosion control and create this new ordinance. So the idea here is this will be a standalone ordinance. Historically, it was embedded in our subdivision ordinance and our zoning ordinance. So we kind of consolidated it in one location. As far as the ordinance, we started with what we call kind of the standard ordinance the state has, and then we modified it. A couple of the big highlights, and I promised I wouldn't go through this line by line, but a couple of the big highlights that we have tonight are what this ordinance really is doing is it's creating a mechanism for a permit to be issued. And right now, the city does not have an actual erosion control permit that they issue. The erosion control is approved as part of the site plan approval or as part of the building permit approval, but we felt it was pretty important to have our own standalone permit. And so this ordinance will create that, and then there is a permit that goes along with this that we're creating, for basically submittal, an applicant to submit or a submittal process into the city for review and approval, and there'll be a fee associated with that. So if you kind of saw that permit section in here, that is new. The other thing that we did with this ordinance is the standard kind of template ordinance has a limitation of any disturbance of an acre or more. We felt like that was a very large area, so we've kind of minimized that down. Our old ordinance had a much smaller area of disturbance when the permit kicks in. So we have kind of rolled that back a little bit just to catch a lot of those sites. Like when we have even the large residential sites, sometimes we have issues with erosion control on. So we do want to kind of capture those too, because it's important to prevent that from impacting neighbors and impacting our storm system and our waterways. So we've kind of gone through here and really kind of applied this model ordinance, if you will, and updated it for Columbus. There is some performance standards in here that we've added. We have taken out what they call the maximum extent practical, which means if the applicant has tried really hard to follow the ordinance, but he can't quite find a way to follow it, then it's approved. We don't like that. So we want to make sure that we have people finding ways to comply with the ordinance requirements. So we've removed some of that, but we have to walk a fine line to be fair, right? So we don't want to be too strict either. And so we've kind of gone through this and kind of put together a process for inspection, so we can go out and we can then enforce that. So as you get kind of the back of the ordinance, you'll see an enforcement section, which is a little new, to have some kind of, I guess, structure to this. And we also have a Board of Appeals or an appeals process, so that's a little new too. So that allows people that are having issues getting the ordinance compliance, or there's an enforcement issue, they have a right to appeal. And that appeal process follows the regular appeals process in the city. So as a whole, it's not terribly long, but I want to kind of give that quick overview about like why and kind of what's in it, what's changed, and why we're kind of using this update. And then I think the cover sheet that Paul put together then did reference all the places that we are impacting the repeal sections in the current ordinance. So I think that's important just to know that there are a few things that need to be updated and repealed along with creating this new chapter 47. So I guess with that, I'm sure you guys have plenty of questions or none, but I'm happy to answer them if I can or take some feedback.
Alder Finkler?
I don't have a question per se, but in the future, I see you have a version over there that shows track changes and my version doesn't. Can we get the version that shows track changes in the future?
There's several versions of that floating around, so this is probably the most recent one, but yeah, there's certainly a lot of work that kind of went into rolling this up. So if you're curious as to what we modified from the model ordinance, I don't have a problem sharing that if staff.
And just to explain, that isn't our current ordinance, that's the model ordinance that is the template from the state that we've edited, trying to edit our current, it's in, if you look at what Paul's created, so our current erosion control is spread out in section 90-295, sections 114 through 145, no, those are the repeals. And then it goes on to state, if any provisions of Chapter 9, Chapter 114, or any other provision of city code conflict with the provisions set forth in Chapter 47, then the stricter provisions as determined by the city engineer shall be applicable and enforced. So this was a major cleanup effort of our current ordinance, and then enacting the model template ordinance is that designated through DNR or who?
Yes, yeah.
So we've taken the model DNR and what we can include in the September 3rd packet is the track changes from the model ordinance.
Yeah.
That'd be great, because we did that with ATV.
Yeah, and I think to Matt's point, it's not a track change of our current ordinance, because we kind of threw that out. I mean, it really was outdated and really needed to be kind of refreshed. So again, you'll see the model ordinance track changes, but no issues with that.
And just to follow up on what Matt just said, the cover page that I prepared, I've found a couple of other stragglers that will need to repeal as we go along, and there may be more between now and the next meeting. So that paragraphs 1 and 2 will change a little bit. But I did add that language in paragraph 4 because I'm pretty sure I probably missed one somewhere along the way that'll come up 5 years from now. So then we can address it that way.
Alder Lawson?
Just want to make sure I understand. So any small business, individual residence being built, as long as the footprint is over 1,000 square feet, this applies, right?
10,000, disturbance under, anything under 1,000 square feet, it doesn't apply, but yeah, so that is I think that's our current threshold right now. So, but it also, I gotta go back in and look a little bit, that's a good question, I'll jot a note down. Let me check on that, because I do know that we have kind of a threshold for residential. So, you know, if somebody's just, you know, putting a patio on their house, that's not what this intent was to cover. So we want to kind of exempt some of that work. But if somebody's, you know, building a large home on a 2-acre lot, you know, we want to make sure that this applies. So there's kind of a balance to that.
Yeah, I think, you know, the situation that made me think of this is an addition, right? If someone's putting on an addition to an existing home,
Yeah.
you know, it could be over 1,000 square feet that they're disturbing.
Yeah.
And should it apply in that situation?
Yeah.
I don't know that answer.
And I'll be honest with you, I've been here for 17 years. Some of the biggest issues we've had with erosion control are residential properties. The commercial properties do a really good job because they get all approved through the site plan review process. It's only when the building inspectors approve a larger development that's residential as a single-family or multifamily home, and it doesn't get the scrutiny it would if it came through full site plan review. Those are the ones. So we kind of did want to kind of capture some of that, so we have a permit in place. So the permit that we will be issuing will have a checkbox on if it's residential or if it's commercial or industrial, and then it'll indicate what the disturbance is, and so they'll be permitted separately outside of the building inspection process now. And again, we're just looking to make sure they comply with the soil runoff. So even if they're disturbing over that, they still may not need to put in practical measures like silt fence or things like that if they don't have the soil loss above the threshold that we have in here. So they just have to prove it to us.
And so when we talk about multiple lots, like a residential community going in, you know, you have 4 houses in a row, that developer, is it a one permit process, or do they actually have to get separate permits for each lot?
Well, as long as they do the disturbance, generally there's a mass grading of a residential development, and they'll need a permit for that. But again, we'll review that and permit that through the site plan review process. In this case, we do that already, but this will still, again, apply to that. But then if they reestablish the cover and that, you know, let's just say they seed it and it grows up, and then a home builder buys a lot and comes in a year later and digs it all up and builds a home, the home builder that comes back a year later will need a permit. So anytime there's disturbance and reestablish the cover and disturbing it again, everybody that does that will need a separate permit.
Thank you.
Yep.
Matt?
I just want to highlight that the ordinance creates a set of standards for construction sites of 10,000 square feet or more, for sites from 1,000 to 10,000, correct?
Yeah.
And that there's different performance standards based on the size of the site.
Yeah.
That's part of that template DNR ordinance.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And that's I guess what I was thinking but couldn't say before is there is kind of 2 tiers.
Yeah, there's like 47.7 and 47.8.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay, is everybody comfortable moving this forward? All right, thank you. Next item is discussion regarding the hours of City Hall. Matt?
Starting Friday, July 5th, I made the decision to close City Hall at noon, primarily as part of our recruitment and retention strategies as technically an unpaid benefit. I think there's some confusion that might be out publicly, is that everyone's still expected to work 40 hours. And the timesheets I approve, we allow exempt staff to hours they work above 40 to accumulate flex hours up to an additional 40 hours. And what I was seeing is that most of our staff was really close to that 40-hour threshold, and in some instances losing some of those hours when they would go above 40. What I've seen in the pay sheets that I approve, obviously, our department heads, is that we've made some effort in reducing those flex hours above 40. Most were close to 40. I'd say we've gotten, except for the individual to my right, and last week's election didn't help this situation any, but we've reduced that threshold down maybe more into that 20-hour. I would say most staff have reduced their flex hours by half over the last couple of months, and I think in looking at it is we have a lot of staff that attend night meetings, and so what we're trading is those Friday afternoons for the night meetings that they're covering. And again, staff can take leave time. The idea is they can flex their hours to work their 40 hours, And we have staff that also are here on Friday afternoons past noon, but have the ability to work with the doors closed and less interruptions. So from my perspective, it's been a good move, been well received with staff, and I other than one known public objection to it from one individual, I've not had anyone voice any concerns. So.
Alder Motive?
I think this is a no-brainer. The staff needs the flexibility. We need to be providing benefits that don't cost us extra money. This is an out-of-the-box idea, and I commend you for implementing it.
Alder Rosted?
So you're gonna make this year-round? I'm assuming that's what we're trying to get to?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. The idea would be is to confirm this as year-round and be able to, formally post those hours, website, and on the front doors, to make the public aware.
Does HR follow this as well?
Yeah, you're talking about for city staff?
Correct.
Yeah.
So what happens when DPW goes back to their 5/8s and we need HR? Our department needs HR on a Friday.
It'd be the same as if that HR staff is on vacation that day or
Okay.
any day. It has to wait until, I'm not sure that there's anything requiring immediate action by HR. There's nothing in that situation that I don't think that can't wait until the next business day.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree that this is a wonderful amenity for staff. My main concern is just having less availability for the public to come in and to, fill out forms, make payments. I just hate losing half a day on Friday, which is probably a day that a lot of people in the general population would also have off or have more flexibility. It's kind of just one of those things. And I had a question for staff. I know library had asked, wondering about access to the building after noon. So I don't know if there will be any keys going out to directors that might need to get in to use facilities here. Just throwing that out there.
No one's talked to me about that. We can obviously view that on a case by case. If there's a staff member that needs access, we can work that out.
Alder Lawson?
Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I think other than the traditional scuttlebutt that happens on Facebook, the only comment that I noticed from anyone in town that could be considered is there a potential for a trade-off, since there are a few hours, I think as Alder Reed mentioned, on a Friday, could maybe some of the offices be open till 5 Monday through Thursday?
It's definitely something that we can go back, talk to staff about, and see whether that's every night or certain nights, or look at that as well.
I'm just curious, Matt, is there any data to support how many people walk through here between noon and 4 on a Friday prior to this all closing down? I want to know how big of a problem this actually might be.
Staff tracked that on a couple of occasions in the month of June. I know we had one Friday that there was, outside of council members picking up packets, there was no public attendance at City Hall that on one of those Fridays. That's not every Friday. I think part of this too, and you saw in my memo, there's a number of communities that have implemented this type of strategy. There's even 2 communities that I'm aware of that are permanently closed on Fridays. And I think what you're seeing is that if we're doing things right, most of those interactions that you come to City Hall for can be done from home, and that most, not all, most of our residents would prefer to do that work from their home, whether that's filling out a permit and submitting it, whether that's making payment, and that we're looking at and working at how we make more of those processes online and available at, 24/7, 365, as opposed to the idea that you have to come to City Hall. We want to be available. I see our attendance at City Hall for items to be, especially on Fridays, whether that's morning or afternoon, very light.
Alder Finkler?
I echo what Alder Lawson said also. What I'm wondering is, so I work flex hours at my job. I think it's an amazing benefit and I'm all for it. But I also, my hours are extended Monday through Thursday to cover for that 4. So that is like my biggest question too is are we still going to have the same amount of hours available for the community? It's just going to be spread on different days. I think by just taking off half a Friday, you're going to have kind of a perception of we're just giving everybody Friday afternoon off. So I don't know if there just needs to be some education there, or if like, is the rest of the hours Monday through Thursday standard with folks that choose flex on Friday? Or do they get to choose how they get in their additional hours during the week?
To this point, they've been allowed to choose. Now, can we put a structure together that expands hours? Absolutely, clearly. Is that going to be universally well received, and does it impact people's schedules in terms of daycare and other commitments and those kind of things? It does impact those things, but that's not an obstacle of why we can't look at it. I think going back to staff and looking at what hours make sense, and we've had the discussion, and it's funny how I perceive, I'd rather be open earlier in the morning because I think people would more likely get here before work, and staff was like, the last thing I would be thinking about is trying to get to City Hall with my morning routine. And I think it varies based on, are you a morning or are you a night person, right? And so trying to find that balance and what works. I think being open outside of 8 to 4:30, there's some benefit to, whether that's certain nights or looking at something consistently. Like I'd argue being open till 6 on Tuesday nights provides a greater window and greater flexibility for people than just being open to 5 Monday through Thursday. And so trying to look at what's creative, what may make the most sense, and go from there. And we can bring that back on September 3rd.
Mayor Hammer?
Typically, foot traffic is low, whether it's City Hall. I know utility, we closed the office several years ago, and it was because there was no foot traffic in the afternoon. So the flexibility, and again, for the retention purposes, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. And again, you have, like David, he puts in lots of evening hours for the meetings that he goes to, same as Amy Jo and Matt and Susan. So, yeah, it's just, it's a good flexible program for our people. So.
Are there any other questions at this time? Okay. Is everybody comfortable bringing this forward? Excuse me. All right. In that case, I will now take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. I was going to let you have it too.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
7:15.